Okay, so this assignment I cannot successfully connect with the my web page. So I gonna just first use the Remix Ethereum ID to show my project. So for this smart contract, which called TripBooker, so we have all this coding. So we're gonna start from the first one. Is enumeration, which have the trip status, the pending, the confirm, the complete, change, cancel, which is all explained by the comment here. And I also have the change request status. I'm not gonna go through everything here. It's gonna take a long time. So the structure for chairperson only, and the trip information for just the single trip. Every trip will be different from the other one. And the user, which for a customer or a guide registrations, which will contain the deposit, which is the money in the systems. And the mapping here is the just mapping the structure. And all the event here, which is for the function below the one-time constructor to construct the chairperson and assign the MSG standard. The modifier is very obviously what this means by its name, by the variable name, only chairperson, only no register, or register, customer not guy, not guy, but customer, blah blah blah. I'm sorry, not blah blah blah. And so I'm gonna start the first one, which is the I'm gonna just first deploy it. So this is our smart contract, and I'm gonna this person who created the smart contracts will be the chairperson as we code in the constructors. So register is to register as a guide or customers. So a guide here, I will input a true as identification for the difference. So this person register as a guide, and this person will register as a customer. And we keep going on, which is the book trip functions, which is the second stage to just to create a structure for the trip information. So we need to have the guide address, which is the second one. Copy here and has the customer to book the trip with the guide. And this will automatically update the old information in the trip info. It's also given the trip counter, which will be the trip ID for identification for the trip. So now I book a trip, which make the trip status to become trip status confirmed, which require a guide, which is the second one, to confirm that this trip is being accepted by the guide. So I go down to confirm trip, which the trip ID, as I said, is start from 0, so it's 0 here, and I would say is true or false to mean approve or disapprove. So true is a confirmed trip. I confirmed it. So as a guide, I confirmed it, and all the all the things is make sure that the status can go to complete. The complete status, which require the chairperson to complete this trip. So a chairperson here is just like the third party to be the mediator to say, hey, we all know this trip is being set, so nobody can just change it by themselves because it's all on the blockchain right now. So which is success as well. So a complete trip is complete here. So now this trip is complete, then we can use the find trip info by the ID. We can see what's the information now. So I can see the customer address, the guide address, the money. I didn't input the money, I forget it. It's all good to go, and the status for the trip status is 3, which is change, and so that's all good to go. So now I'm gonna just try to use the change request functions. So I'm gonna pretend I am a customer, said I want to change a trip, the information in the trip. So this now is all on-chain data, but the trip, the thing you want to change about the information is gonna be off-chain in this database. So here I'm gonna just use the trip ID to change the quiz. Said, hey, I want to change it. So as I did here, the change status is gonna become let me see. Find trip info. The change status is gonna become 1, which is let me see, which is pending. So when we pending, I need the other party to say, hey, I agree with your change or not agree with your change. So if I am a customer that I want to change some things, I need a guy to consent. Yeah, but if I am a guy to provide my change, I need a customer to say I agree with you or not. So let me go to this function. I don't know why there's so many space. So there's a guy, which is the second one. I say, hey, I want to the customer say, I want some more extra trip informations. Then we go to prepare the trip ID. Hey, and the guy say, I agree with you. And the amount change, which can be a negative or positive, which will automatically change everything. If it's negative, which means the overall money for the trip is decreased. If it's positive, which means the overall cost for the trip for the customer is increased as well. So let's say, hey, I want to 500 up. The overall cost for the trip is up 500. So I got a response change. So let us see the trip right now. We can see here the money here is increased 500 and the status become approved because the change this status means approved, which is, hey, this all things is out to go and ready to go as well. And this function, the response to change request will call an internal function, which is here and here. You can see the highlighted part, which will call this internal function, which is refined by change. So this is where all the monies, plus or subtract, multiply, or just all the math counting here. So we will have the trip ID, which trip ID's money is the system, the system for the trip information's money, and the chairperson escrow, which is the third party to supervise it. So if this change is made, so the money will go from the trip infos to the customer deposit. If it's positive, it will be positive. If negative, it's negative because it's a plus, so it doesn't matter. And if it's guide, go to the guide. If the sender is from the message sender, so we know who sent it, the quiz, so we know which money will go in the party way. So, and in the end, because all the money is going to where it belongs, so we make the chairperson escrow to decrease, to back to the original money. So a chairperson will not help a chairperson escrow just hold as a temporary deposit. There's a more logic going on here, but I don't have time and not as smart to go on an idea here. So I gotta just keep going on. So the function, the cancel trip is let me just try to give you more. I don't think I can do this because it's the change, so I will figure it later. So for the function cancel trip, which is here, it just change this trip. So for instance, I cancel just the trip I create. So I cancel it, everything, the money inside it will become 0. Oh, not this one. All the money in the trip info will become 0. All the money will back to where it belonged before. So if a customer will get a customer money, he gives it to the trip info, and the guy will get his back. So it's the same idea that chairperson escrow will be the third party to temporarily hold the deposit. So everything here is almost the same from the response by change, refund by change, but the difference is cancel the whole things and make the change status become the change status cancel. So we all know it's cancel and it cannot be come back regain anymore. And the last function is the withdraw. Withdraw is a function here which take the MSG sender who click, the person who click this button will withdraw the money he or she deposit in the user structure in here. So if I have a person who register as giving 1,000, and he registered as a customer, and now he want to withdraw it. So he withdraw, and we can find how much money he has in his account. So we know, hey, he still have 1,000. Yes, he still has 1,000. Oh, I forget to add the month here, but it's very easy to fix. I just add some line here. Oh, but the function can going well, but it's not that hard. It just add some, customer deposit equals 0, something like that. So I will fix that later. So then we keep going on to the real contract I create. So I have tried my best to try to fix everything here. However, I am not able to connect the web page, the web page with the smart contract. I don't know why, but I'm trying my best. Okay, that's everything I am going over for the smart contract in the remix. And next one, I'm gonna show you my web page in the Visual Studio Code. So I know I cannot successfully work on the this web page, but I indeed try my best in every files here. So I'm gonna work around every part to try to explain to you. So start from maybe my HT making a smart contract. So the smart contract is the same thing, the same thing in the remix. I didn't change anything, and it just more clear and efficient. So I will move to the migration. So for this file, I just copy the textbook and your project and the project you provide to see where I go wrong, but I don't think it's big difference, but I just cannot make it happen. So Function upgrade, function sec. I just copy everything, so I'm not gonna explain everything here because I don't know. So contract is done, and there we go to the migration tools, which is the deployment for the migration and the TripBooker. So I actually deployed it successfully in the Ganache network. I cannot make this happen to either the Fox, the Fox here. I cannot click it, I don't know why. Or the Infra, I cannot make it work as well. I spent a long time to work on the integration, connect with the blockchain, the smart contract, and the web page. It just not happen. So no matter what I click here or I use the Ganache to do anything, it didn't change anything. So it's just not work. And I didn't think I got wrong here because I just copy again the textbook. And this is the migration, create a dependency, and there's for the TripBooker. And I copy the API here for the app.js later. So I'm gonna close this. Test, yes, and yes, okay. Okay, then we keep going on. The migration files and the migration again. Description, man, direct test, debug, keyword, license dependency. I create for travel. It's not it's work, and dependency web3 is work as well. And the travel more module export development. So for the local host, I am trying to use Infra or the Fox, the network. However, I cannot make it happen, and it's so hard to going on there. So, which make my web page is not working as well. I don't know why, but just not work. So the port number is Ganache. I know the network as well. The compile just the version 0.8 to compile the Solidity language. And this is the I don't think I need this file. It just creates the wrong way, but I don't think this matter. And the next one I'm going on the test. Okay, so for the test file, so let me call the terminal out. So I am trying to make all my tests, all the tests I defined to work, but I think there's a big problem in my coding and I cannot find a way to figure it out. So I'm gonna just expand the test by one. So the travel test, we code it and it's compiled successfully, which is good. Successfully again. So the problem is here, I don't know what this means. So it said the VM expectation while processing transaction is being referred. So I don't know how to fix it, and I have looking along look and a solution along the time, but I just not work. The data blah, I don't understand this part. So but in the end I get 2 green, which is good in overall 40 test. Let me just show you. So there's 2 passing over 14 test. So I can keep this here and going over all the tests I create, but it's gonna take a long time. So you can skip this part if you prefer. It's gonna take a long time. So I first call the contract by the name and the function to provide the account, which is predefined in the Ganache. The tree, get address, customer's address, and I do use the before each to set up the contract for the test. So the setup should as a new construct to define the account 0 as get address, account 1 as a customer address, which is this is the guy and this is the customer. And I'm gonna test the modifiers first. So I choose 2 modifiers to test it. So the first one is only no registers. So only register who have not registered before can register in the system. So for this part, is gonna just try to call the person who try to call a person to register again after it's registered successfully. So I make the person did this twice to see is it work or not, and it's work. 2 passings, that's nice. And the second one is only customer, not a guide. So it's almost the same like the last one. Is that I call I predefine the guide address and the customer address to say hey I register them, and I call a function which only for customer to test it by the guide address, and if it fail to use this function, which means it is successfully being modified. And the second part of this code is the I make a customer to book a trip which is for the customer, and if it successfully make it, we're gonna use the assert echo to check the trip info store in the structures. If the address, the guide, and the status is matched, it means the test is good to go, which is the second passing. That's nice. And the next test is register function. So for this function is where the wrong error keeps showing up. So this is I make a person to register as a guide first. So I acquire the address in a garnishing, and I await the person to register as a guide to input a true here. So I will wait and then to see, hey, is the person who creates a guide registers in the user structures is a guide and is equal to true, then which means this person registers as a guide pass the test. And the second one is allow the user to register as a customer. Is the same idea, no big difference. But so the run is going the run as well. And the next one is book trip. I'm gonna test these functions by going over the things or go over this function. So book trip is a customer to book a trip with a guide. So I make 2 person to register as a true and a false, guide address, customer address, trip ID, blah blah blah. So I await a guide address is provided to the input and make the customer from the customer address to book the trip by the value he or her should predefined in the SMSG value. So and I wait the contract to call the get trip info by the ID to see, hey, is the trip info structures being created by match the customer address, the guide address, the money, and the status, which is should be moved from pending to confirmed, and it's fail, revert. I don't know how to fix this, and the run is all going in the set. And next one is confirm a trip. So it's the same idea like the last one. It's just going over the process. So register, book a trip, the send, and I'm gonna go on to the guide confirms the trip. So the guide confirms the trip by the ID and by approve or disapprove, and take the MSG sender as the guide address. So guide, if agree, then I can check the get trip information. The status is moved from the confirm to complete. And if a guide is approved this trip by input the false, I can wait. I can see from the information the status is moved from the confirm to cancel is run referred again. And oh no, here referred. And the next one is complete trip, which require the chairperson to complete the trip if everything is going on well on book trip and confirm trip. So the same until here. The chairperson complete this trip by the ID. So if the chairperson complete this trip, which means the status for this trip info structure is gonna move from the confirm to change status, move to change. Okay, the next test is change request a function. So allow guide or customer to initiate a change request, which is here. Now here initiate a change request. So the same, it's register, book, confirm, complete until here. So if a customer initiate a trip by the ID, it's gonna check trip information. The status is moved. The change status is moved from standby to pending. And if a guide initiate is the same, it's gonna check it from the pending, change to pending. So, and the next one is response to change request, which response to change request. This one. So it allows a guide or customer to see, hey, am I agree or not agree with the change? So if a customer initiate, it's gonna need a guide to approve or disapprove. If a guide initiate the change, it's gonna need the other party to do it. So again, the same until here, the customer initiate. So if a customer initiates and a guide responds to this person by the ID, the true, he disagree, the money change, find the guide address, is a message senders to see, hey, if it's the person do it, it's get the trip ID informations by the trip ID to see, hey, the change status move from the pending to the second one, which is approved. And I can test the other one is the guide initiate this change, and the customer say, hey, I don't like it, I disagree with your change. So everything going to send here, I'm gonna just say, hey, the trip ID info should the change status gonna move from the pending to disapprove, which cannot be approved or anything else. And next one is refund by change, which is an internal functions to be used in the response to change request here. So a response change is an internal function to do all the math here. So everything going to send here. So until here, so a person responds to change request to provide an ID, agree, and the money the person predefined he want to change it. So here is a positive 0.5, which we're gonna make the money in the system to plus 0.5, and it's gonna make the money in the guide info deposits temporarily plus 0.5 as well. And it's also check the chairperson escrow, because in these functions the escrow is as the third party, and it is said a third party to temporarily hold the deposit and then move the money from the person who initiated the change to the assistant. In the end, no matter what, no matter it's disapprove or approve, the money for the chairperson escrow will always be zero. It's just double check. It's referred again, here referred again always. And the next one is the cancel trip functions. So just test is it can be canceled or not by going over all the same process until a chairperson completes trip. So if a customer and a guide can cancel it. So a way this person to cancel trip by provide just click button and the trip ID. So trip info, I await this person to get trip info by the trip ID. If it's being cancelled, which means the status for the trip info we're gonna move from change to be cancel to cancel, and I'm gonna check it by the the money inside the trip info, because when it's cancelled, all the money in the trip info in the system for that ID gonna become zero. No matter what, no money can be stored in the systems because there's the blockchain, which is decentralized systems. So no money gonna store in the smart contract or the chairperson escrow if nothing happened or nothing acquired. So the money will go over to everything where it belonged before, the customer or guide. The next one is withdraw functions. For the withdraw function, which the customer or the guide can withdraw the money in the system, which is the structure for the trip info structure deposit. So I just register a person, two different people as a guide and a customer, and store one ether in the deposit. So a guide and customer just trying to withdraw, and if the person withdraws successfully, we can see the guide register or the customer register, the money they store in the system is gonna become zero, because I don't want the person has that much money in the system instead of their wallet, so they don't have to be careful about where the money go. It's all controlled in the wallet. So the purpose here is I don't want too much money stored in the smart contract on the blockchain. And the next one is find trip information, which will be iterative to find the information by the ID. So it's all the same until complete a trip. I call hey, I find the trip information by the ID. If the ID is matched, everything else should be matched. The customer address, the guide address, the money, the trip ID, the status, the change status, the initiator is everything should be the same, because because it's supposed to all identical. If it's one thing going wrong, which means there's some part going wrong. And the problem for this part is I don't know why, but the customer address cannot be matched. It's 0000000, which means the smart contract behind is not working. The different account did not call the right function well, I believe. The last function, which is the TripBooker to find the trip ID by user. I use the message sender's address to find ID by an interactive for loop. So I didn't go through on this one. So this is where I find the ID by the the ID I provide, and it's gonna look over all the smart contracts. The address is stored in the trip infrastructure, and if it's matched, it's return the things. I know this part can cause a lot of energy waste if the blockchain going very long, because every information is stored inside it. However, it's just a very small temporary functions for those people who cannot find a trip ID. So it's all the same. And if a person book a trip after it, and in person find a user trip ID by the customer address, it should be matched by the user trip ID I predefined here, because I call the ID to create, and the trip ID, it should be matched. The problem here is not match. It should match. It's bad, 0, 1. It's like the wrong is going on here. Okay, so this is all the part for the test, and I'm trying a lot of ways to try to resolve this problem, and I try to update the Web3 stuff to the latest versions. And after I update, it's going wrong and more and more, so I'm gonna just stop it. But I'm pretty sure some part of it is work, because when I run this test, the money stored in the virtual money in the Ganache is changing from 100 to 96 from 71. This is the guide address. This is the customer address. So I know it's work. Change account is it's worked as well, and log has become very long. So it's work, but it's a little way too complicated. So I cannot see clearly what's going wrong here. Contract creation is a very lot of stuff. Black. So next one, I'm gonna move to other part. Okay, next part is the TripBooker applications. I cannot connect my web page to Infra or Meta Wallet, the Fox, or the Ganache well, but I indeed develop a well-structured HTML file and the app.js. So I'm gonna walk through everything here to show you. So the package and just the dependency with the all the stuff. So for the index.js, I just copy everything the textbook tell me and the project you have or the memory I have. So not really sure how to explain this. It's just part of 757545 for the Ganache, the index, blah blah blah. It's all the same. So the next one is the main part is the HTML and the app.js. So this part is all the the small things. So I can call the web page to byte. So all the button here and all the input field is for the button and to calling the function and provide input. So I have two buttons to register as a guide or as a customer. Very obviously, if as a guide, you're gonna input the true. If customer, you're gonna input a false value to pass to the register function. And if it's a book tree, which is this one, if it's a book tree, we're gonna provide a guide address and the money as the message value. There's a common tree can provide true or false, and the ID, the complete tree provided by the ID, the change request ID again. All those things going on in this TripBooker smart contract is work with the trip ID mostly. It's not about a address or anything else, because if I have a trip ID, every trip can be identical instead of work with a one customer or one guide, because maybe a guide can work on a lot of trip at the same time. If the person can have a different trip ID to differentiate every one of them, it can become very unclear. And the next one is response to change request, which is just response to change here, the ID, approve or disapprove, and the money change. And the person, if you want to cancel trip, provide ID and the message sender and search customer. So most function here, when I click button, the person who hold the address on hand will also send their address as a message sender to the smart contract to say, hey, this person is being sent to call this function and need to provide address to perform this function content. So such customer provide a customer address, get the information, guide the information, trip information. This is the UI change if the contents is being found. the ID and the visual. If the visual is happened, it's gonna also show here. It's gonna call the message sender and the message value to be called in the system to get out the money from the wallet. So this is the other part for my HTML page, and I'm pretty sure there's nothing going wrong here, but it's just not connectable with my web page and blockchain. So you can go on here. It's not a very fancy stuff. I didn't change the CS style or the font style. As you said, you don't want a fancy style, so I just create a several button and a several input field and output field as a UI change. The visual button, and this script is the things I found on websites, several websites that hey, I can put this as a web page to connect with all the app.js or all the things change behind the smart contract. So I put some here, and I'm not sure it's wrong going on here or anyone else. Okay, the last one is the app.js, which is on this one. So the URL for the Ganesh, I know I need to update if it's for the inferior, but I just I cannot make it work, so I just use Ganesh. And the contract address is where I defined the address I put for the smart contract. And the APIs I copy from the file here, so I'm gonna close it, and I can going on all the coding here. It's gonna take a long time again, but I know I cannot make it work, but I'm pretty sure the logic and the things behind this function is well structured and is well planned, and it should work as long as I can figure out what's going on, what's wrong here with the connection. So let's start from the initiation function to call out an app initiate web3. This function call the next function, which call the app and initiate this contract, the app contract, which is the TripBooker smart contract. So I create by the contract API and the address, return this contract. So all the function here is is for connect with the HTML file. So for the file, the button, register users, I get a value is a guide gonna be true or false, which depends on the value input by the button fields. So from sender, also the value is 0 if I predefined console log. The book trip is our second one. It takes value from the input field again. So mostly the function here is no big difference. It just takes the value from the input field to wait the person click the button and send to the smart contract to execute the function in the smart contract. So if from sender you just send it from the message sender, it will show from message sender in the smart contract as one of the input fields. So here is the send. If I confirm the trip is the send again, I take a decision true here, which will show is true or not directly. And complete trip, no big difference. Take the value if the message sender is a chairperson, is work. And the change request, no big difference again. Change request ID, change. Take the ID, it's not a big difference. I'm gonna just skip it, and account 0 get a value equal true value. It's all input to here to call out a function. Cancel trip, send, count, and the search customer take the value. Okay, so start from this part because I need a official change like a UI change to say, hey, I found the person information I'm gonna show on the web page. So this is the UI change I create. Address is gonna show the address and it's a customer true or false. It's got a true or false and the deposit, the system, the money he store or she store in the system. And then get customer info, just a small stuff, small inner function used for the search customer. And the guide is no big difference. You also get a guide info here. And the next one is find trip info. So for this function, I use the try catch because I spent a long time here to figure out. I don't know what's going on around here, so I use try catch. So not big difference, just get a try catch, but it's work in the end. So const turn trip ID get value again, show all the information in the trip info structures. No big difference. Get trip info also. The search ID is remember the iterative. If find it, the trip ID we're gonna show as trip ID. The withdrawer, no big difference. You take the person who click it as a withdrawer as the message sender to send to the smart contract to get the money stored in the structure. And for this part, it's just a part I found unlike said this code can resolve all my connection problem because I didn't load the window or load the page or initiate it. However, it did not resolve my problem obviously, so I just leave it there. So overall, this is all my coding. It's all dependency, the package log JSON or JSON.js. It's all the coding stuff here. So I don't want to say it, but I really tried a long time, trying to figure out what's going on around here. There's a lot of PowerShell, as you can see, and I cannot figure out why the smart contract cannot work behind the blockchain or a smart contract or a Coinbase or wallet. I don't know. I just cannot successfully integrate it. Like what do you do on the class? And I look over the textbook. I read over everything, but the more I read over, I get more confused. And I hope you will not deduct too many scores on the integration because I am trying to figure out by myself a lot because I don't want to say, but I am expecting to see the project you can provide the coding for the integration, but mostly you just provide a contract instead the the application part. So I am trying my best. I hope you will not deduct too much score, please. And please give me an A. I just spent a long time to work on this project already. And thank you for listening my really long videos. So don't waste your time. I'm gonna upload this video on YouTube, and I hope you're enjoying this video. Thank you.